Welcome back to Tales from Moreni KG. If you are new here, this is Tales from Moreni KG. Do well to subscribe, like, and share. Thank you. I was meant to die, but it saved my life and I was discharged. It all started on a sunny Sunday, the very beginning of the week. I was young and vulnerable. I had lost my parents earlier when things were hard on us. I mean the entire community. Our leadership then was cruel and a lot of persons lost their lives to the wicked rule. My parents were among the unlucky ones. I am the first of 4 kids, so the responsibility of the home fell wholly on me. How was I supposed to make things work? I was just 16 and my youngest sibling was 8. I went in search of jobs, at least to put food on our table. Education was not really a thing to worry about because we had access to local education for free. Life was not easy for me at all. And since it was unusual for females to fend for the family, it was tougher for me. Looking at my life today, I know I was just a victim of circumstance, but I refuse to blame my present plight on anything or anyone. Soon enough, I got a place to work as a maidservant. It was in a home of some wealthy and powerful non-indigents. From there, I was getting enough to feed myself and my siblings. And I was really glad. I was comfortable until that sunny Sunday when my life changed for the better. Or so I thought. But it was actually for the worse. Because it would merely claim my life later in life. I always cannot hold back my tears whenever I remember how Cyril came into my life. Cyril, the man that almost got me killed. He was about age 30 and he was a good man. From the very first day, he made my stay and work in their home as a maidservant pleasant. He picked in me some sort of special interest, but I made sure to avoid him until that Sunday. Cyril was my boss's son, and we were of different tribes. For our differences in cultural values, intertribal union was forbidden. But honestly, Cyril was a goodly man. He was pleasant to the eyes and desirable to the heart. For that dispensation, I wasn't too young for marriage. So to consider a man at that age was cool for me. But what wasn't alright was to consider a man like Cyril. The more he showed me affection, the more my feeling concealed for him was revealed. I was home alone with him that Sunday. I was busy at the big backyard when I felt a cozy presence accompanied by an aura unusual. And with oil of gladness, it suited my heart. Times he offered to be around me, I wouldn't resist. Closer, he drew on to me. He offered me assistance, and his assistance I welcomed. As he bent over to assist me, his strong arms held mine like Aaron held Moses. He pulled me up, and before I could blink an eye, his lips were on mine. That kiss, I still remember so well. It started with that kiss, and I lost it. With the kiss given and received, he confessed to me his love. His plans to make me his lawfully wedded bride, he declared, but that I knew would never happen. My love for him and this for me, I knew till eternity would be a secret. Never would I be his lawfully wedded bride, but not minding on that sunny Sunday we started the affair that would later request for my life. Phoebe! Salome called me, making a serious face, and I looked at her as a way of response. Just tell me the things I'm hearing about you are false, she added, expecting a reply. I looked away and remained silent. It's been 3 months since my affair with Cyril started, and as expected, words of it had started flying around town. Since my co-maid servant had caught us smooshing a week earlier, I knew it wasn't going to remain a secret for so long. For the past 2 days, I had been hearing all sorts of derogatory things about myself. Just within those 2 days, I had lost my self-respect and shame had replaced it. Falling and staying in love with a non-indigene was serious enough. But getting intimate with him made it worse. Immediately the news started spreading, I had started getting physical attacks. I became a prey for the entire community because I was considered impure. Purity of all sorts was a big deal for my community. Engaging in any form of impurity was committing an abomination. Phoebe! Salome called again. This time she was already on her feet, looking more serious. And I looked at her again in response. Phoebe, your silence is to me an affirmation. But what I don't understand is why you would do such. You did not stop at loving him, but went ahead to defile your body. Tell me you aren't doing this for money. Oh, stop! I'm not doing it for money. I'm doing it for love. I snapped at her. Oh, I see. It is so true that these non-indigens don't know anything about true love. When does fornication equate love? Anyways, Phoebe, my friend, be ready to face the consequences. They are knocking right on your door. And as for me, I'm not generous enough to suffer with you. Face it alone, because even that man will eventually leave you. Phoebe said. As she turned to leave, there came a knock on the door. We exchanged glances and the knock came again, this time louder. And it made my heart quake. I was done for. Was I ready for what was coming? Good afternoon, Phoebe, the lad at the door greeted. I had opened the door with trembling and fear. I was expecting the worst, but I felt ease when I saw that it was the lad from my boss's home. Good afternoon, I replied, expecting the reason for his visit. Master seeks your presence right now, he said, and I exchanged glances with Salome, who had also been standing by. In less than 15 minutes, I was there. I didn't know what to expect, but I knew it wasn't good. Since the news about me and the son started, I had stopped going to work. I believe you know why I've called you. I cannot just sit and watch quietly. The people here have always been good to us. My boss explained, and I looked on in silence. I know how great their hunger could be if toyed with. Before things worsen, Cyril will be getting married next week to a girl from my hometown. He said, and I looked at him with an expression of shock as tears began to form in my eyes. The main reason I called you is to warn you to stay away from him henceforth, my boss said on a final note. I left for my house full of regrets, shame and pain. If Cyril wouldn't marry me, then I know I would remain unmarried and casted for the rest of my life. After all that had happened between us, it is certain that no man in our community will ever look at me twice. Even the first look would be a mistake. Of a truth, Cyril got married as planned. I tried as much as I could to stay away from him. But he had been sneaking into my house to see me, and I couldn't stop him. My heart and my body wanted to be with him as much as he wanted me. My doom day was just at the corner. Death was knocking on my door, and the power not to open I didn't have. There was a young man from a different part of the state who was an expert in his field. He was young in age and in profession, but he was good. He had lots of virtues in him that drew people to him, but I was never drawn to him. I wasn't fond of him like many others. This man, this same man, would later be my rescue from death. It was a week of celebration in the community. The entire week was for the Sukkot feast, and many people were in our community from the other parts of the state. People were gathered in large groups to consult the elders and learn from them, but I couldn't leave my room because of shame. The sun was almost setting when I heard a knock on my door. It could be a message from the elders, I thought. I opened the door to behold the face of my married lover. Cyril came in and we got talking. But why would you come at this period? I asked him. I knew you wouldn't go for the feast. And since we were both involved in the act, I thought I should come and console you. He replied. I was in tears already, and Cyril pulled me into his arms. It felt like heaven in his arms. He patted my back gently, and soon we were in the world of fantasy. I forgot all my sorrows as I yielded my body to Cyril, and everything in me responded promptly to every of his touch. Suddenly, the door swung open, and my world came to an end when I saw two young men accompanied by two elders. At that point, I knew it was over. I was caught in the act. Almost immediately, Cyril picked his clothes and fled through the window. I was left alone to bear it. The young men came towards me furiously and dragged me up, not minding that I was unclad. I pulled my wrapper along to cover my shame a little. They dragged me like a nothing to the gathering where my case would be decided immediately. I was taken to the young man I spoke about earlier, and it was to decide my fate. I was surprised at why the elders would want him to judge me, as they were always at war with him. They were all in the same field, but the goodness, wisdom, and perfection of the young man in that area had been a threat to them. But now they wanted their enemy colleague to decide my case. Anyways, there was a fixed decision for my case. I would be killed publicly in a shameful manner. I would not even have a chance to perform my sin offering to God. I awaited my judgment as I bowed my head in shame. There were murmurings everywhere as people awaited my judgment. The young master was quiet, and I saw him bend to write something in the earth. And after a while, he stood up and said to the elders, Let him who is without sin cast the first stone. Let him who is without sin cast the first stone. Those words I can never forget. With those words, he rescued me. He saved my life and gave me a new one. I saw the elders and some people left shamefully until there was none of them left. And the master looked into my eyes and said to me, "Daughter, go and sin no more." Those words healed my heart and my soul, and it gave me strength to live again, this time without sin. I would have successfully wasted my destiny, but he washed me. He washed me and made me whole. And now I am free, discharged, and acquitted. This is an imaginary story of the woman caught in the act in John chapter 8. And like this woman, Jesus has set us free from all the shackles of sin. From the judgment of sin, he has delivered us. He has snatched us away from death. For the wages of sin is death. And he is saying to us, son, daughter, go and sin no more. Can you hear his voice today saying to you, son, go and sin no more. Daughter, go and sin no more. Are you suffering from guilt of sin? He has paid it all. He has paid it all. Jesus has set you free from the wages of sin and from the guilt of sin. He is calling you out. All you need to do is to surrender yourself to him. Make him Lord of your life. Believe and confess him as your Lord and Savior. He died for you. He came. He died. He was killed. And now he is risen. He gave his life so you could live. Have you made the decision to follow him? If you've not made the decision to follow him yet, today is a good day to come out from the bondage of sin, from the hold of the enemy, and embrace life. For he has come to give life, life in abundance. What moral lessons did you pick from the story? Kindly drop them in the comment section. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Goodbye until next time.